We need to have an honest debate in this country about how we make sure that we're not passing on the negative repercussions of this development to the next generation. We need to be internalizing those environmental costs now as we're benefiting from the resource so that we're not just passing it on to the next generation. So I'd love to see all parties have an honest debate about how do we put in place an economic system, a market-friendly, business-friendly system that allows the companies to have understand the true costs they need to incorporate. So this is called carbon pricing, and all three parties at the table have different proposals that would actually bring about some form of carbon pricing. So that's putting a price on the pollution that is causing greenhouse gases. And when you do that, you allow the companies to at least forecast their development models. And right now, the companies are actually doing that in the oil sands because they know it's coming. I just wish right now that all of us could have a much more rigorous debate about how we do that best.
This is Canada's big economic opportunity. We used to not agree on that, actually. This is not what the NDP and the Liberals used to say. No, to be fair, it isn't. Stéphane Dion, your
But Justin
previous
Trudeau, in the minute that NB4, he's always supported it, and he's the leader of the party now.
Right, but I mean, the Liberals actually had power for quite some time in Canada. I mean, we talk about going back. The Liberals had power for quite some time in Canada. Oil sands development didn't just happen in the last 7 or 8 years. It's been happening for quite some time. And if we've got a black eye, it's not just because of the last 4, 5, 6 years and because of backing away from Kyoto or anything like that. It's actually because the oil sands have been a controversial topic internationally. Now, it seems like everybody agrees. I don't think there's that much disagreement on how to get there, and I really
yes, there is actually, because you're not agreeing on how we actually make sure that we're internalizing the costs now. So there are costs, environmental costs to that development, and if we internalize those for the companies developing, then they'll make sure, like you said, there's some great stuff happening in the oil sands to improve. How much faster could they be improving the way that they're extracting that oil if we allowed them to internalize those costs now, as opposed to passing them on to the next generation? And I do have to clarify that I do have a problem with Justin Trudeau saying that I don't like the environmental protections we have now, but I support shipping the oil and expanding the oil sands that way.
But he said that he would strengthen the regulation. The bottom line is, Althia, we have this big pipeline called Keystone going from Alberta to the States that we cannot get approved. Barack Obama's government has not approved it because there's so much opposition from the environmentalists in the States. This is going to hurt our economy, but they are opposed to it because the rules aren't clear in Canada what we're doing to improve the environmental costs associated with developing this oil. It's up to the government and the government of the day to put those rules in place and make them clear, and that's where we're seeing a gap from the government that's in place right now.
So Jason, should there be stricter and tougher environmental rules covering the oil sands?
100%. 100% there should be. The government has put much stricter rules in place over the last 5 years, and promised a polluter pay principle to the point.
Which it hasn't yet explained, though.
No, but if anyone here is saying that the government has not put stricter rules in place in terms of oil sands development, I think that we all know that the government has.
But it's not far enough to inspire the kind of international confidence that we need for our sector, and it's hurting our economy and it's hurting our reputation.
Susan's absolutely right on that point, that we need to be able to export our natural resources, and right now, whether it's in Europe, they're putting perhaps a levy, what would be basically a tax on any oil exported from Canada. So Susan's right on that point, but what we're getting—
it's too environmentally abusive.
Yes, and we need, the successive governments, Liberal and Conservative, have not done enough to improve our reputation in that regard, but Jason's saying that they're putting in stricter rules. They've promised rules on regulating the oil and gas sector. They haven't come in yet. That is a form of carbon pricing. So we all have different ideas on how we price that pollution. The problem is that we don't seem to have an honest debate about it in Canada, because there are many economists out there who say a carbon tax is the best way, a cap and trade system. I don't know any economist who says that sector by sector regulation is the way to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in a way that is business friendly. That's the government's approach, by the way.